لطالب كاتمون.
عارف راح كل جبالنا حالنا.
ليس مهما كما ظننت سأصل.
صدقني الله.
Hello and welcome to this GamesRadar Plus live stream. My name is James. I am the senior video producer here at GamesRadar, and I am joined by Leon Hurley, the executive news lead.
Hello. Yes.
Have I got that
No.
right?
No. Everyone gets it right. I'm the executive news editor. Louise is the news lead. Usually
Okay.
people forget the executive. I don't know why it's there, but I like the sound of it.
Fine. Well, we are here to look at Far Cry Primal.
Yes, which we have both played. We have both stuck sharp things into a variety of animals and people.
Indeed, we
Yes.
have, yes. And so, if you've got any questions for it, fire them away in the comments. We're going to stream some footage that we took while we were playing it just a few days ago.
Yes.
So, Leon, what's the overall premise for people who haven't played or seen anything about it?
So it's Far Cry, but a long time ago. It's strange because it's got everything you recognise from Far Cry. So it's got kind of factions, it's got like random missions you'll be exploring, and you'll see like some hostages being sort of escorted or people to rescue. You have to go into bases and kind of liberate them almost. The only difference is you have sticks and arrows and spears, and you can see here a wolf, so you have these animals that you can use. They're potentially the most interesting thing because they're essentially like an AI controlled buddy. So you might sneak in to rescue some prisoners, and you can tell your wolf to go and attack that guy, and you go around and attack the other guy. So you sort of have like an extra body to sort of direct. I mainly used a wolf. There's things like there was a saber-toothed tiger I managed to tame. So you tame these animals by using bait. In Far Cry 4, you could throw bait and it would draw animals out to attack people. Now you throw the bait and you can go up and you hold basically square to tame them. And you walk up and you sort of put your hands out and they just decide to be your friend. So I got a saber-toothed tiger, which is huge. It's like the real killer of the selection. There were about 20 animals, weren't there?
There was like different tiers of wolf.
Yeah, there were wolves, dogs, bears. Because is it Joby? The Joby? What's the little?
Oh, like a tiny,
Yeah.
like prairie dog, essentially.
Yeah, and you can only have one at a time, but you can have like a bank to choose from, and they all have different sort of ratings, if you like, for stealth and strength and speed. Like bears and some of the bigger tigers are like the kind of the tanks. Tigers are particularly good at stealth, supposedly. I just basically sent mine in to attack everyone left, right, and centre, so he was not a stealthy cat at all.
No, and they do like your own stealth thing. So if you go into stealth mode by pressing circle, they'll also stealth crouch and like creep along next to you. So they're not going to go running off and kill everyone unless you obviously tell them
No,
to.
and it's quite good fun when you send them, because you do the that high pitched whistle sort of people with dogs do to call their dogs. You sort of point at someone and do this like whistle thing, and off they trot. And it's that quite nice kind of carnage because everyone panics, no one quite knows what's going on, and they don't immediately assume they're being like attacked by someone. They just it's another animal attack to them, and then you pop up with your big spear. One thing I thought was quite interesting is obviously the change from not having any guns initially seems quite weird because very early on in the game it's quite sort of staccato. You fire an arrow, you miss, you have to wait, reload, fire another arrow, or you have to hit people with clubs. It's very weird going up behind someone to do a stealth attack and then smacking them with an enormous wooden branch.
And no one noticing.
And no one noticing, yeah. But later on, I think that's a longbow you can see there. Oh, no, that's just a normal bow. You get different kinds of bows. So I used a longbow quite a lot, which is like a sniping kind of thing. You get a lot more range and it zooms in. But there's also like a sort of a short bow that you can load up with lots of little bolts, and that basically acts like a shotgun. There's another one that kind of almost works like a machine gun. It lets you fire a lot more rapidly. So you actually unlock sort of analogues for machine guns, shotguns, pistols, that sort of thing as you progress by getting these different types of bows, and you do that by rescuing different people as you build your village. So the whole idea is you're building a community, you're building your Wenja tribe, and there are different key people. One does sort of healing, one does kind of spiritual stuff, and there's one guy that does weapons. And so by rescuing these people, you build out your gear. One of the things you can have, for example, is like essentially like a bee grenade. I forget what it's called now, but basically there's this crazy kind of caveman weaponsmith just makes you a bag of bees, and you can throw them at people and all the fun that brings.
So away from the animals and things, we've got a question. It says, what are you supposed to do in this game? Which is quite a broad arching question, but essentially you're a caveman who's part of the Wenja tribe.
Yeah, so you're Takar. It starts off you're hunting a mammoth, and you sort
like
of
this.
Literally, yeah, this is the
This
opening
is the
scene. Yeah,
actual
so
bit.
you're with your brother, I think, and you hunt the mammoth. That all goes swimmingly. Spoiler: bit, and then you wait.
Well, I mean, the spoiler bit's coming up.
Oh, is it in it?
So
okay, but
let's just wait till that happens.
Yeah. Okay. Well, but you end up in a new valley. Somehow you've been separated in a way you can't get out. You almost immediately meet a woman who is another Wenger, and she sets you up in your little kind of proto base. So you just literally have like a cave, and she starts to send you off on little missions, and you bring back like the spiritual healer guy. He gives you your owl as well, which you use later on. We'll mention that in a little while. But yeah, so you go off and you do missions. As your influence in your territories increase, you draw in more population, and as you collect people and upgrade, so you actually sort of upgrade the people and the village. So, for example, at one point we were attacked and we had like kind of fences and barricades that were all being taken down. So I think you can sort of improve those. And you're basically building a village, and you're setting up the Wenger's presence in this territory. So rather than it being in previous Far Cry's, you're not been wronged by one crazy guy and then you're taking him down. You're trying to sort of drive out all the other bad guys and make this place your home.
Yeah, when we did it, I think we came across 2 different rival tribes.
Yes.
One of them that comes to attack you, and there's another one, slightly more advanced one, that have developed the ability of that dangerous weapon, fire.
I'm intrigued, yeah, because it just says they're masters of fire, and you have fire. You have to start fires, because if you get caught out at night, you have to find a campsite. Well, you don't have to, but it's a lot safer if you find a campsite. You do your little Raymir's flint striking thing, and or Bear Grylls even, and then you sit by the fire and wait for the bad things to go away. But they are masters of fire. I think there's like a fire bow. I mean, you can set fire to weapons and create sort of more damage. You just set fire to a spear there. That's quite satisfying to sort of start off your kind of attack of a base by setting a guy on fire, because they'll panic and scatter. But yeah, so you've got the Ul, who are, they're the kind of the brutes. They're basically cannibals. There's there's all the bad guy or all the tribe.
All is the main bad guy.
Yeah. So he's the main bad guy. He comes and attacks your village early on. But then there's also the queen of this sort of fire tribe,
who's a bit like the one from Far Cry 3, the like mystical lady who sends you on all the weird trips.
You got your witch doctor now to do that, haven't you? She's like, there's a really weird bit in the bridge where you first meet her, and she doesn't like the Ul, so she just kills him straight away. Like, you're no good, you're stupid. Just stabs him, jumps him in a river, and then she's got a captive Wenger and goes on about how strong and how useful they are. And I didn't realise this at the time because of the angle I was under a bridge. But while she's doing it, she's grabbed a handful of his junk and is like giving him a good checking while saying how useful the Wenger are. So I don't quite know where that's going, but yeah, they're neither of them are good people, and they don't like you.
No, they don't like you at all.
No.
Because you're part of a different tribe, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it is like literally tribal in every sense of the word, and you are trying to make sure you are the king tribe. So yeah, there's no sort of, they're bad guys, but they're not the sort of the narrative hook this time. They are part of the story of you trying to take over this local area. See here, we got the crafting. So
yeah, that's still in it. All the stuff from 3 and 4.
It weirdly feels like more practical this time, because the first thing you have to do is make a bow. So you have to find like stone for arrowheads, trees for the branches, and reeds, I think it is, for the bowstring. It's a little bit weird as well, because they've made the rocks like huge, nice, big, visible rocks. And you go up and collect it, and you just see the hand waft out, and it sort of says you've got some stones, and this enormous boulder just disappears.
Yeah.
But here we go. We've made a bow. You make your sort of own weapons.
I think that is the only weapon that you make along the, like, you don't go out hunting for a big stick to make a club out of, do you?
Yeah, no, you keep crafting them. Yeah, because you can throw clubs. Like I mistakenly kept throwing my clubs. I mean, spears obviously you have to throw, and you can go and get them back. But clubs, as well as whacking people, you can aim with L2, and then you can sort of bring the club back and throw it at people. It's quite sort of satisfying to clonk someone in the face with.
I remember as well, you run out of arrows, and you have to go and pick more big sticks up, basically, to make arrows again. Yes. Yeah, and
it's got the plants as well. Like the woman you meet, she teaches you how to do basic kind of healing stuff, and then you start collecting. It's like green leaves, red leaves. They're just called green leaf, red leaf, and you just see these big, obvious plants.
So Kyle would like to know what the combat feels like without guns, because obviously Far Cry's relied on guns for quite a long time, and now you don't really have any. I mean, you have your bow and you have your clubs, obviously, but there's nothing, that you can actually shoot at people in the way that you used to.
Early on, it does feel very, very different. It weirdly reminded me, oddly, of old World War II shooters. When you used to have the bolt-action rifle, you'd fire a shot and you'd have to wait to do the bolt, fire
really
another shot.
Slow.
But you do unlock these weapons later on as you progress. So they do have like a bow that kind of works like a shotgun, because you fire a handful of arrows with it. You do have a bow that works like a machine gun almost, because it lets you fire quite quickly. There's the longbow, which works like a sniper rifle. So there's kind of analogues, if you like, of guns in there. But from what I played early on, especially, it is a little more slower. It's a little more sort of considered. You do have to sort of sneak around and think a bit more. It's weird because when you play the old Far Cry's, everyone just liked using the bow. And when the bow's the only option, part of me was kind of like, I wish I could use something else.
Yeah, I mean, it takes quite a while of getting used to. We only played the opening sort of 3 hours or so.
Yeah. Well, they did jump us ahead, didn't they? They gave us
Yeah, so we played the first bit till you establish your village.
Yeah.
And then we skipped ahead a few missions to do a bit more, and we had a bit more of the extra weapons and crafted a few more things and all of that. But I found the bow, like, surprisingly easy. And the whole things that we were doing, I mean, it's basically a big introduction to the world and everything. But I thought killing the men was, like, surprisingly easy to get headshots and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's like when you... I quite like sometimes, like in Destiny, I like a hand cannon. I do quite like slow-firing weapons because you tend to think more about your shots.
Not for me.
Nope. Big auto rifle spamming baby. But no, so I like say a hand cannon. I used to like the shotgun in Doom. Things where you go like, this shot has to count, this shot has to count, and you're not just spamming away. So I quite liked it, but one thing I found I took a lot of getting used to, and I don't think I quite ever got on board with, is because you only have clubs. You have clubs, and if things get close, your bow's kind of a bit useless at first. I mean, I'm not sure how good the shotgun bow works, but when people get close, you've only got the clubs, and it starts to get a bit messy because the way that I think it still kind of uses the same kind of AI as the previous game. So people get close to you, and then they start trying to run around you, and because of the field of view and the way it's working, you can't get them in your sights, especially if it's animals that come down at your feet.
Yeah.
You've got this big stick, and you're just kind of like hitting the ground, and you can't really... It doesn't feel like you're locking onto them in any kind of way. You're just flailing wildly and hoping that they pass into your view as you spin round.
So if you've got any questions, guys, put them in the comments below, and we will get to them as we go through this live stream.
See a questionnaire. Does it have throwing knives? Which was yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah. No. It does. It has like.
Well, they're not knives. They're like.
They were called spikes or shards.
Yeah.
I think they were called shards. They're like literally like flint shards.
Yeah, so you had a bit of flint and you strap it to a rock kind of thing and then just throw it at a man.
That's the whole technology of the game. Everything is just strapped to a rock. Like radios strapped to... There's no radios. But.
Yeah. Put them in the comments below. All this footage is from a PS4 build that we played recently. So Jordan wants to know if the missions are repetitive. Now, we didn't actually play... Well, I didn't play that many missions because I went wandering off up onto the snowy mountains.
Yeah, you're often in search of things. Sorry.
I mean, I think... From what we did, they're everything that you'd expect from like a Far Cry game.
It's very, very Far Cry. So yeah, like one mission I had to go off and rescue the shaman, and so you have to go and find him and use your hunter vision. I think you have to take out some guards. It's a bit like a base taking thing. They've got the bases, except this time they're now either like little encampments, and sometimes there's bonfires which act as like fast travel zones. There was another mission where I had to go and tame a wolf, and you have to go in there and you have to defeat a few people to get past into the wolf hunting zone, and then you have to like tame this wolf and bring it back. So it's very much kind of on par with Far Cry 4, just in a loincloth this time.
Okay, so related to that, Night Raven wants to know if we want to talk about the skill trees. Now, the skill trees are basically attached to the people that you take back to your village.
Yes.
So you have, I think it's 4 we saw when we played it, different people who will upgrade different things for you when you do different missions for them, essentially. So they'll tell you to go off, and probably for the clothing crafting guy, it'll be like, go and get me a certain number of reeds from the river.
Yes.
From over here, and you just have to go and get them.
And it has gating as well, where only you need certain specific animals to make a certain thing. So you sort of have to kind of get up to a level where you can tackle like the magic super wolf, and you can get whatever he makes out of it.
Now, Louise would like to know if there's anything exciting instead of the grenades. So I guess you get that bee grenade.
The bee grenade, yeah. So it's that kind of caveman level tech. So obviously there's no kind of high explosives or anything like that. It's like anything you can put in a bag and throw, basically, which works in real life, really.
Just throwing bees works in real life.
Yeah,
sure.
Bunch of bees in a bag. Yeah.
Well, the other exciting thing is what we're seeing now on screen is the nighttime hunting and things. Now the environment changes quite a lot at night, so you'll get different animals will come out, different people will be around doing different things, and I think only certain caves and stuff will unlock at night, so you have to go back to them.
Yeah,
at
there was a
night
couple of
time.
missions that I found that only opened up at night. I can't remember what they were now, but yeah. So there's a split kind of side to the game.
Okay, well, let's move on then. Can you only tame predators? Jordan wants to know.
Yes, because there's not a lot.
There's
of
turtles.
use. There's turtles. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what use that is in a battle.
Well, the owl isn't. Well, he does kill people, actually, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. Well, the owl. Let's talk about the owl. So obviously the main the main sort of here's the owl right now. That is such good timing. So the owl kind of works like a feathery UAV with a terrible turning circle, where you sort of you fly around. He tags enemies. You can activate your sort of hunter vision to sort of see. There you go. There's hunter vision, so you can see through things.
It's almost like we're playing it as you're describing.
It's almost like
we're
playing
not.
it.
We're actually not. It's, this is footage that
Yeah,
we've pre-recorded.
But you call him with this sort of like you make this weird owly noise and he flies off. He's about 6 foot tall. He's huge. When you send him down to attack men, you realise he's the same size as the men. But he flies around, he labels things, you can sort of get a feel for where everything is. And he's got an upgrade sort of tree so you can expand his sort of abilities.
He's essentially like the camera from Far Cry. He like tags
Yes,
enemies,
yeah.
but he's got an attack this time, which you can upgrade in his own skill tree that he can drop bombs on people.
Yeah.
And dive bomb and things like that.
Yeah, and it's quite handy. Like I used him when I think I did on mine or something. But there's loads of people and they had sentry towers, so I just used him to take out like the sentry tower that I was going to sneak in through. So that got rid of the guard that would have seen me if when I was going along the ground. And then he has a cooldown; you can't use him again. But yeah, he's essentially like the bows. He's like a sort of an analog of systems you understand. A lot of it is basically it's just Far Cry but looks different.
Yeah. Okay. So let's clear this up for Alexander. Is this a separate game or DLC? It's not like Blood Dragon that we got for Far Cry 3. This is a brand new standalone game out really soon. Actually,
This is, from what Ubisoft's saying, this is this year's full-priced Far Cry game, which I was quite surprised by because it does have that kind of slightly spin-off kind of feel. Like it is that sort of novelty value. Considering the sort of progression and systems they've invoked in the previous games, it seems quite odd to kind of strip that all away for quite a sort of a bare bones thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, there's a lot in it.
It's huge. I mean, we're going to talk about the map at some point, but the map wasn't unlocked, but in our build when we were playing it, but you could sort of see the rough outline, and it was huge. That map is enormous.
We've got a story probably on the site and a video going up tomorrow
Yes.
about just how big the map is. We've managed to pull together some things and we'll show you exactly how big the map is. There's also a video on the channel at the moment from walking across from one bit of the snowy mountains back to your camp, which took about 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll be able to see from the video tomorrow that is not a big bit of the map that took that long to walk across.
That's the thing. We had what looked like a reasonably sized chunk of the map like uncovered and explored, and it was like, okay, this is a pretty big game. It goes off a bit that way and a bit that way. That's fine. And then we've managed to find this line and follow it around and realise there was like another 2/3. Like we thought we'd unlocked maybe about a half, and we'd actually unlocked about a third.
So Mark G would like to know about clothing customization. Now you do get some. I mean, you obviously can't pick your own hats and things like that. But
No, I can't remember actually the clothing. I was sort of so focused on the weapons, I didn't really go near the outfits at all.
Well, because I went up into the snowy mountains, you need to craft yourself some better clothes to be able to survive the cold. Because as soon as you go up into the mountainous snowy regions, you'll get a cold bar on the screen which shows you how cold you are, and ice starts appearing on the screen so you know visually that you're getting cold. So you do need to craft better coats and things, I imagine, from like skinning bigger animals like bears, so you can make yourself a nice bear coat, and then you'll be able to survive longer up in the mountainous regions.
Yeah, and this will be the special animals as well, because I forget the name of the fashion designer guy in 4, but he'd want specific animals, and he could make you a especially magic piece of clothing.
Now, Juan would like to know how brutal the combat's going to be, because obviously there's clubs and spears, he says, but how visceral is the combat?
The one weapon I think that had the sort of the most impact for me were the spears. The arrows worked like arrows. The clubs, the club just swings. There's some blood and a thump, and the guy goes down. So they sort of work kind of how you think. But the spears are, especially when you get the big heavy ones, it's like throwing like a sharpened brick on a broom handle at someone. So in the second unlock section, we had these extra long, extra heavy spears, and people would like bend in half and fly backwards. Like I hit someone in the head with a spear, and the spear was about half the size of their face, and it just sent them flying back on the floor. They're really sort of the most unpleasant thing in the game to use, I think.
So a lot of you are asking about the map size. We don't have any footage of the actual map, I don't think, in this thing, but we do have, like I said, a video going up tomorrow which will show you just how big
I think it's gone
the map
today.
is. The walking across the map thing is up today.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
But
yeah,
tomorrow
yes.
we'll be able to probably show you the whole map.
Well, yeah, if you go on the site and check out this walking across the map thing, that was what we thought was about half the map, and it turned out to be a third. It's a really, really chunky lump of terrain.
Yes. Okay, so let's get back to the story and the narrative and things. So there's 2 tribes that
Three.
we've seen.
Oh, sorry, the
and
enemies.
yours.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that is basically the story, is you going along and you're basically, for want of a better word, liberating the island or the map of these other tribes.
Yep.
And spreading your tribe around the thing. So there's other things you can go and do. There's lots of side missions. You can go up and find bonfires to light,
Yeah.
which will then,
They're fast travel.
yes, you unlock fast traveling, and it will unlock people to go back to your village. So you
Yeah.
start off with like a sort of nothing village built out of rocks.
Yeah.
And as you go through the game, you can upgrade the village to have better huts, which will then give you better abilities to craft more healing things.
I quite
things like that.
like the village. Like I didn't really notice at first, but there's a couple of times when I came back to the village a little later on, and you suddenly walk in there and there's people everywhere, and they're like, some of them are hitting little log drums, and you just hear the sound of people like working and moving around, and that was quite nice when I just sort of looked around and went, oh yeah, this is happening. This is like it's going on.
Core must have missed the beginning of the stream. Says, can you command beasts? Yes, you can. So I've seen, I think I took control of a wolf, definitely, but there's a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, I got the saber-toothed tiger. Hilariously, the saber-toothed tiger rushed to attack me, and I just panicked and just threw all my bait at the ground. and he started eating the bait, and I tamed him, and then I had this like 9-foot-long white saber-toothed tiger at my beck and call.
Well, taming them isn't that difficult, is it? You just
No,
sort of
there's
throw
no-
some meat on the ground,
Yeah.
and go and hold square next to them.
So meat still draws them out, but unlike in 4, where it used to make them attack whoever was nearby, they now, they'll eat the meat, and you can sort of creep up, and you have to hold square. And he sort of puts his hands out like he's sort of like trying to placate someone. He's like, calm, 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 and then he gets closer and closer, and eventually like strokes, like rubs their nose, and then they're kind of like, I'm not wild anymore.
Like you would
I'm your
if you
friend.
approached like a savage dog.
Yeah.
Slowly calm him down, give him some meat, then he's
Yeah.
yours forever.
Exactly.
Now they're not invincible, are they? They can die.
Yeah, they can die, but they can be revived. Like you
By
can
chucking meat at them.
Well, you
actually.
have to feed them, but yeah, so they can go down, and there's like a little timer, and the timer lasts quite a long time. So I didn't get rid of my wolf until I got my saber tooth. But I'd look around and he'd be on the floor somewhere, and they do that thing where they're on the floor with a little feeble animation, like a meh, meh, meh. You're like, oh god, I'm a horrible human being, and you just sort of run up and push steak down their throat, and suddenly they're all right again.
Suddenly they're fine. But if they do die, you can
Just get another one.
yeah.
Not to trivialize animal
Such
life
a
or anything.
throwaway.
Yeah.
Yeah, another wolf. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And there are giant beasts in the game as well. I think this is one of the snowy mountainous regions up here. But I encountered a blood-tooth mammoth up
Yes,
here.
the mega mammoth.
Yeah, which is a big thing. It's almost like a boss that you have to go and fight
Yep.
and track down using your hunter vision, and then shoot some ice that falls on his head a lot.
Yeah.
There's a video of that on the channel as well if you want to go and check it out.
Yeah, I wandered past when you were fighting him, and it was just you were just up on a little ledge somewhere, just throwing spears at what looked like a furry house with tusks.
Yeah, chucking spears at him does not work.
Makes him angry.
He does not like
No.
that. But yeah, you basically have to make him run into big ice things that then fall on his head. I didn't actually kill him because it was very cold, and I died. I died. We ran into like another small animal, which was very annoying. Which we might show you tomorrow as well. But it's difficult. But they're like if you remember Black Flag, the giant legendary ships you got in that you had to take your giant ship to go and fight. They're a bit like them, like they're scattered around the map. Then you can go and find them later on and try and take them down.
Yeah.
Now we have a question: can you tame a limited amount of animals?
So basically you have one active animal at a time, and I think it was about 20 animals across. I think it's dogs, cats, bears, and something else. I've forgotten now. So you have, I think, sort of about 20 or so animals across like 4 tiers. So you have like all the way down to the jobies or whatever they're called, the little kind of tiny hyena type dogs, all the way up to like massive kind of dire wolves, and the same with cats. So yeah, you got basically I think it's 4 or 5 classes of animal and 4 of 5 tiers. Essentially, you only have one active, but you can unlock them all, and I think you can pretty much just call them up and send them away as you want. So you could almost like just you check out a base, decide you want a bear instead, and just whistle yourself up a bear.
Now, I saw a question about asking if we can name the animals. As far as I know,
In your
you
head.
can't. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But as Leon says, if one of them dies, you can just get another one.
Yeah.
So naming them would be just troublesome for you.
Well, I mean, me and Terry the wolf got on fine.
Okay,
got on
good.
really well. Steve the cat, not so hot.
Hardcore would like to know if we saw a PC version and if it was playable. We played all of this footage from the PS4 version. I didn't see a PC version there.
They had one, but I was too busy just playing. I mean, as soon as
Yeah.
I started playing, that was it, kind of thing.
There is actually if you check out our sister site, PCGamer.com, they have done a preview of the game as well, but I'm pretty sure they played it on PS4. I think they say that in the video that I watched earlier.
Have you just pulled back the curtain?
They do say that. Tyler would like to know if there's any traps and weapons that can be made.
Yes, I didn't make any, but there are some kind of traps because this is like so you played a lot more than me because at one point one of the European journalists came along to our row where we were all playing it, plugged in his laptop and blew all the power. So I was behind for the rest of the demo because it took about sort of 40 minutes to get everything up and working again. So there are traps there, but I didn't touch them, I didn't unlock them, so I didn't build any.
Yeah, I think actually when I was hunting the mammoth, you get to one of the traps and it says the spikes don't affect the mammoth because he's already trampled through them, basically. So it's basically saying all the stuff that you might have already learned you can't use for this because this is like one of the big boss battles and you're going to have to do it another way.
Oh, and I've just seen that screen growing green there because there are kind of gas grenades, aren't there? You see them when your village is attacked and these guys have, I don't know, bags of gas. I don't know what that's like, just bad things in a bag.
It says you're poisoned.
Well, yeah, and then you see these green things flying at you, and they're quite handy to get rid of first. There's a guy about to throw one here. So there's a lot of different kind of tools. You have like sort of area of denial of effect. What do you got? Area of effect, denial of. But you can sort of, you've got things you can use to control the battle. Basically, you can shut off a certain area. You can put a trap somewhere else. You've got these different ways of controlling the battle.
Okay. Another question is, can the bird go higher? Which he can go up and down.
Yeah,
there's definitely a ceiling to where he.
Yeah, he
stops.
basically it's a bit like when you have remote UAVs, that sort of thing. He just does his thing at his height. There's these enormous circles scattered around in the landscape, which I'm convinced you have to try and fly the owl through. You're not.
I don't think no.
There's these enormous hoops, like a 10-foot wide.
They're not in
hoop.
the air though, are they?
But no, but it looks. The only thing I can think that they're there for is to fly the owl through, like some weird challenge mode.
I'm sure you can if you want to.
Yeah, I tried. It didn't work. But they're definitely they're weird. I'm not quite sure what they're for.
Okay, well, I think they're just decorative because what else if you can't build things out of stone and you've got loads of wood lying around, you just make yourself a nice trellis.
Perfectly formed hoop.
Well, the ones that I saw were like going up the side of a mountain, but as archways. So you walk
I just found a
underneath the
couple
arches
scattered
and
around
went
the
up.
middle of nowhere.
So you can see here, this is the cold affecting me a bit. I think I'm about to die and be chased by a bear.
I think you're a
which
wolf
is-
on your tail at the moment. Oh no,
No,
bear.
it's a giant bear.
Definitely a bear.
He's not happy, that bear.
Aren't you supposed to make yourself big?
I think I've tried that already. It hasn't gone well. Ulysses would like to know if you can upgrade arrowheads and spears. I think we've covered that already, but
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, so it's
the
like
answer.
heavier spears. You can set your arrowheads on fire, which is great for panic and burning. I think you can poison your arrows as well. There's elemental effects almost. There's like poison, there's fire, there's kind of speeds and weights. So obviously the big spears are a bit heftier to sort of throw, but they will absolutely kill everything with the first blow. And arrows again, you can have. I think the shotgun arrow, or the shotgun bow, I think fires quite small, weak bolts that don't go very far, but has a wide scattering effect. Whereas the longbow fires quite penetrating, dangerous bolts, but you have to go. You have to aim for distance. Was that a honey badger?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, so the honey badgers are back, and there's as much a pain in the ass as possible.
Yeah, so I was just minding my own business trying to club these guys.
Honey
to
badger
death,
don't care.
And then the honey badger turned up.
The worst thing behind honey badgers here as well, though, is you don't have guns or explosives. I basically in Far Cry 4, I just C4'd and grenaded honey badgers. I wasn't wasting any time trying to deal with them. But now you just got like a stick, and you have to try and whack them around your feet.
It's rubbish. It's really, really difficult. More questions about the bird. Can you tame different birds or just owls? Alexander would like to know.
It's just that owl, but you can upgrade his skills and abilities, so you can make him, increase his attack power, like how often he can attack, his sort of range that he can see and stuff that he can tag. But it is just the one owl.
Yeah. And Bala would like to know, how long can you stay as the bird?
As long as you like.
I think so.
Yeah,
you can't. There's like a radius that you can't
Yes.
fly too far away.
That's one of the things I think you can upgrade. You can upgrade the radius slightly. But there's no timer on it. You do what you need to do as the owl. You get your intel. You tag someone. If you attack someone, then that's owl time is over, and there's like a cooldown. But otherwise, you just fly around, check the lay of the land, see what you want to do, and then you just unwhistle the owl, and then you sort of get back to being you.
And Umli wants to know, can you climb towers or something similar? Now, there are enemy camps that
Yes.
you have to go in and basically kill all the enemies, or I think the one that we did you get to the one where you have to burn down some of their like wooden structures?
Yes, the what they call them, the bone trees.
Yeah.
So they have
which are made
these
out of wood.
they had bones on them.
Yeah.
But so they got these totems, and that is one of the missions where you have to kind of, they've attacked your base and you've fought them off, and then you're sent to kind of like send them a message. So you have to go to one of their camps and burn their bone trees, which I did 2 by accident. Like I fired an arrow, like a burning arrow at someone, and he managed to set fire to everything, and so I only had 1 bone tree to worry about. But radio towers, they're obviously not there because like any kind of it's prehistoric times. You can't really make a building higher than anything you can pile. So everything's kind of pile height.
Yeah. So we should move on to the things that you get. So how you get your owl basically is you see the shaman.
Yes.
And he gives you like a weird like blood drink.
Blood drink
which
in a
sends you
skull.
Mad.
Yeah.
And then you have to go and like capture the owl.
Yes.
But there's going to be other drug trips that you can go on, I think, throughout the game.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's obviously a staple of Far Cry, and obviously now it's tied into like shamanism and mystics, and drinking blood juice out of skulls.
Which is what you want to do back in the
Yeah, that's
primal
a
days.
solid night out for the cavemen.
Sailor would like to know if you can play as the lady with the ears.
No, she's got a weird thing about ears. Like ears make her happy in a way I find uncomfortable. No, but she's just basically one of the people that helps upgrade and unlock your village. She's the first person you meet collecting ears, funnily enough, and every time like you'll be talking to her and she just sort of starts to get a funny look in her eye and start playing with her ears, which she wears in a necklace.
We should mention the fire that we've just seen on screen as well. The fire is just like it has been before, but now obviously because there's not anything built up, it spreads a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But it also the fire effects are really good, and that's how you burnt down that village.
Yeah. Well, it's that classic Far Cry thing where you're like, I'm in control of the situation. I'm the master of. I'm on fire again, and like it's just running chaotically everywhere.
Okay, so it's all open world again. Here's that owl. Oh, there he is. He's back, flying over the thing. So the map is massive, as we said.
Yeah, we can get a good sort of getting the look of it here.
Yeah. So one would like to know if you can ride any of the animals, maybe the saber-tooth. All of the bigger ones.
I think it's the bears and the bigger saber-tooths. Yeah, I mean obviously tiny little dogs would be cruel. Funny,
Yes.
but cruel. But yeah, it's bears and saber-tooths, I think.
So yeah, the
Which
giant ones.
Yeah, and like how cool is that going to be? Like
Oh,
riding in on a saber-tooth.
Yeah, I think again tomorrow we'll have a saber-tooth video
Yes.
showing you just how cool the saber-tooth is. But you can command him to go and attack people. He can fetch things for you. He can do loads of stuff as long as
Yep.
you keep him fed up with hunks of meat.
Yes.
He's all good. And the mammoth as well. The bloodtooth mammoth quest that I did. Once you kill him, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to ride him around as well.
Well, you could ride elephants in 4, so it would be weird if you can't ride elephants now because that's obviously like ridiculous amounts of fun. There's nothing better than smashing a man up with a trunk, just
Exactly.
waving him around like a bag of sticks.
Do your weapons break? The answer to that is, I think, yes. I think the club breaks if you smash too many people with
I
it.
don't remember them breaking. I just remember sort of running out because I'd thrown them at everyone.
Or maybe I just threw them
Yeah.
by accident at people.
I kept accidentally throwing clubs, and then like because you get a little message going, you got 1 club left, and you're like, oh, I've thrown it away.
One thing that does happen is if you light your club on fire, instead of it sort of having a gauge that says, oh, the fire's going out, it just like starts off really bright and then gets dimmer and dimmer
Yeah.
and dimmer as you walk around. So you have to be careful at night. It's not that difficult to relight it again. You
No.
just hold L1 and press square.
Yeah, you have like a flint, then you can pretty much just
But you've got to have like enough stuff to relight the fire.
And when it's lit as well, like when it's just a plain ordinary club, you can swing it. But when it's lit, it becomes like a pokey club, and you can only kind of like prod. Like I was trapped out at night, and I got attacked by wolves, and I had my sort of flaming club, and I was just kind of poking them in the face, trying to keep them at bay, which is quite fiddly because of the sort of the field of view and the fact that you only have essentially like a range of about 2 foot with a club. It's very hard to kind of like keep the wolves in view and keep poking them. So that was kind of a bit of a pain in the ass, just kind of wafting a stick in their direction, trying to keep them out of my face.
Lee Lewis would like to know what the owl vision highlights when you're flying around. Obviously, it depends on how much you've upgraded him, but definitely from the beginning, he'll point out where all the enemies are for you. Like he'll mark them like you would with your camera in the previous Far Cries, and he's also able to do like dive bomb attacks and things on the enemies.
See, we haven't mentioned, so you have a hunter vision, which is essentially transferred to the owl when you use the owl. So hunter vision, you press down on the right stick and it activates. I think it lasts like 8 seconds initially, and you sort of have to upgrade it to last longer. You can see making a club at the beginning.
So you make your club.
But it makes everything relevant as yellow. So you use it at the beginning to hunt goats, and it turns the goats yellow, it turns the blood yellow. It's a kind of annoying that it's timed. Like that's something you upgrade, so you can extend the time of it. But when you're hunting a goat, you there's no cooldowns. You just keep, every time it turns off, you're clicking right stick again to get it back on. You can upgrade the range of it when you start crafting. You can see here it shows off footprints of someone you're trying to follow. That's a barrier you can't get through. It also
you can burn it down.
Yes, now you've got a club. Yes, you can use it to see sticks, resources, stones, plants, that sort of thing. One thing I'd like it to do that it currently doesn't is it makes everything yellow. So in a fight when the Wenger were having a battle with the Ul, then I used it to find people and they're all yellow. So I was just attacking everyone. It turned out I was like sticking a lot of sticks into my own people,
which is never a good idea.
It didn't go down well.
To build a tribal community up.
There were complaints at the town meeting.
So there's obviously the floor, the jungle floor that you can explore as well, but it's not just that. There's lots of traversal options as well. So once you get into the later stages of the game where you can craft other things, you can craft like a grappling.
Well, this comes from one of the guys you rescue. This comes from a kind of like the tech caveman, I guess, and he makes you a grappling hook, and then you can start climbing and getting around. And obviously you've got these planty vine ladder things.
Yeah. So you can go up pretty high up the mountains, but there's only in like certain points where it lets you. There's like grapple points, and there's vines that you can get up. But up there's like a lot of things to explore. There's going to be a lot of side quests up there, a lot of things to find, and that's where the mammoth is. He lives up in the high snowy mountains. I saw someone earlier saying, "Does the weather change at random?" I didn't see it like rain or anything.
No, I think it changes by area. So obviously you went up to the mountain and this is a cold area now. You need cold stuff. I don't think you really get, like, there's a day-night cycle, and if you get caught out at night, you need to sort of decide what you're going to do about it. But no, I don't think it's like kind of massively dynamic weather.
Do you have to eat to survive?
Only in that it heals you, and obviously your animals as well. So you've got the Far Cry thing where you're popping your thumb back in joint and pulling bits of bone shards out of your wrist. But yeah, you can also eat a hunk of meat, and that will give you like a life bar back, and the same for your animal as well.
And like, do you add people to your tribe, or are they already in your tribe? Says Alexander. It's sort of a bit of both, isn't it?
Well, you start off with just Crazy Ear Lady.
That's her official name.
That's her official name, yeah. So you start off with her, and she sort of tells you to bring people back, and you go off and find these people and tell her Crazy Ear Lady sent you, and they're fine with that. And then as you do missions and bring people back, you go back to the village sometimes, it'll just get a little message, just goes population increase, and you just see it go like 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And there'll just be people there, basically, and they'll just appear. Like, you don't really see them kind of arrive. There's just more when you come back.
You can rescue them. There are
Yes.
side missions where you have to go up to the people and it will say, the Wenger people are being attacked, or you have to protect them or transport them back to your base. And the number that you manage to get back without them dying is then added to your cap. So when I think I did one of the side ones, and you get 4 people who will then fight alongside you for anything you come up against. But if you let one of them die, you're only going to get a population increase of 3.
Yeah.
So can you use people as followers or just animals? which is sort of attached to the same thing.
Yeah, no, the people are sort of like upgrades and resources, and they live back at the village. The animals are like weapons, if you like. They are your kind of AI companion.
Yes. That was at the end of that sentence.
Yes.
Okay.
That seemed like a perfectly good ending sentence.
Yeah, but they will help you, won't they? Like the people.
Yes, yeah.
So if you're going to attack a village,
Well,
they'll sort of know that you're going to.
Yeah, so
attack a village.
when your village is attacked, they will fight back, and you will have you will fight with all your people. Here's crazy ear lady. But yeah, so I mean, one of the first things you're doing is upgrading like her hut and the shaman's hut. Like they can only do so much when they're just sleeping on the ground. So you build them a nice hut, they'll get very excited about it, and then they start to kind of offer you services, and you can upgrade things. So your people are your power to some extent, because the more you upgrade certain things, the more access you have to different arrows and different sort of bee grenades and that sort of thing.
Now, Lee Lewis has got a good question here. Does the flaming club you're carrying around make you a target for enemies at night due to the light it gives off?
Yes.
Yes, it does. The answer to that is so it will attract not only other people but animals.
Well,
as
this is the weird thing. I mean, obviously, if you're sneaking around trying to sneak into a base camp, then a flaming club is not helpful.
No.
But if you're stuck out at night and you get to a campfire, you start a campfire, and that keeps the animals away. So
Yeah.
it's yes.
Not all of them though. Like it will keep wolves and things away. I don't think you can wave a giant club around a bear.
I did not encounter bears at night, but yes. So if you're trying to sneak into a camp, you don't want anything on fire apart from the other guys. But if you are trapped outside, like this area here where they're building a club, is you set a fire at night to keep the bad guys at bay.
Yeah.
Well, keep the animals at bay while you're getting ready, and it teaches you sort of what you need fire for and how it works at night.
Yeah. Okay. Lion Kid Game wants to know if there's going to be a third-person mode. I don't think so.
It's just normal Far Cry.
Yeah, unless you buy it on PC and mod it.
Mod it,
then
yeah.
There's probably will be a third.
Just be like a
mode.
floating hand with a stick.
Purple Hydra is concerned that the story isn't going to be compelling enough to get you to the end of the game.
It's interesting because it's all in subtitles, so they all speak this Wenger language, which is Ubisoft has spoken about. Like they originally, when they started doing it in English, it felt weird because you start getting to me hero man sort of thing. So they started using like cavemen languages. They've got a couple of linguists that work on like really early Proto-European languages, all sort of thing. And they had like an early version of a language that still didn't sound quite right. So they asked these linguists to like retroize this language and push it back further and try and make it as early a form a language as possible. So it's very. All I can remember is Tigre was tiger, which I was the only recognised because it's like that sort of sounds a bit like tiger. Nay is no, but it's all very short little words, and they all speak in this language all the way through with subtitles, which is quite a risk, I think, because if you think about like the number of times like you get American remakes of foreign language films because no one can be bothered to read subtitles. Having a whole game with subtitles, which we can see right now, which is handy, crazy ear lady. So I think that could be quite interesting to see how people take to that, to have subtitles like this all the time.
I mean, not having played more than like the first couple of hours of it probably, and then skipping through missions to get a bit further on. I mean, I guess there's a chance that throughout the game you'll start to understand the language.
You picked up a few words. Like I think it was like nay was like no, and like tigri. I can't roll my R's, but like if you imagine like tigri was tiger. But you saw the shaman there. One thing they do that's quite good is the faces are very good. So the faces get very close to the camera and they're very expressive when they talk. So even though it's not in English and it's all in subtitles, you get a lot more focus on sort of eye contact and facial expressions. So you do sort of find yourself like watching them because they get right up in your grill.
Now, I think before we go, which we got a while left, but keep putting your questions in the comments, I wanted to say that there are almost definitely, we can't say 100%, no dinosaurs in this game.
I asked the creative director, I was like, come on, why no dinosaurs? And they were adamant that they wanted to keep it sort of like real and, authentic.
So there aren't any dinosaurs.
They were adamant. They were adamant there weren't any dinosaurs. Yeah, he gave me a very kind of press releasey, nice kind of unconfrontational answer. That was basically like, we wanted to keep it authentic. We wanted to keep it real. Dinosaurs wasn't where we wanted to go. I still think
I'm glad we've got to this. This is what I was aiming for. Leon has a crazy theory.
I still think 10, 12 hours into the story, you're going to come up against a glass wall and there'll be like scientists behind it with lab coats and stuff. It's what I want to happen, because there was back a few years ago when all the Ubi's like surveys leaked, and it was like, do you want the next Assassin's Creed to be this, this, and this, or do you want the next Far Cry to be this, this, and this? And they'd be testing out what people wanted. One of the options was a Jurassic Park style prehistoric world set in the future or something, and so one of the ideas they were testing out in the survey was essentially Jurassic Park but with people, and I would love it. I mean, they seem adamant that it's definitely not going to happen, but it'd be great if you suddenly, like Star Trek style, they suddenly discover there's a wall with a panel in it and some buttons, and suddenly there's like the future is on the other side and you get cavemen with machine guns.
Yes, wouldn't that be awesome? That was part of the reason that I went climbing off up and down the mountains to try and find like the edge of the map, and then like say, look, there's no dome here, because when you get to the edge of the mountains, it's just more mountains that you can't climb up. So from what we've got to so far, it doesn't look like there is a magical dome.
It's a missed opportunity.
Well, there we go. Command Me wants to know, when is it coming out and on what consoles?
It's February the 28th, is it?
Yes,
and it's on
both PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, and PC.
And PC.
Yeah, basically, all current gen stuff.
All this footage is from the PS4 version that you can see right now. And
that's a nice highbrow question there.
No, not that one. I'm thinking until reading the one about skinning animals and having different costumes at some point when you go to the village. And
I think he's speculating wildly there.
I don't. Well, you can skin different animals. That's
skin different animals,
definitely. And when you do get different things from the people in your village, but I don't think it's going to extend to like different outfits, because you never see you, do you? You never see your character. You never see his face.
You get like protect you from the cold stuff, but it's not like you end up with like a kind of a tank outfit or a stealth outfit or anything like that.
No,
you just get a nice pair of boots and a scarf.
So Hardcore also asks, what about the side activities? What can you do besides doing the missions? There's a lot of exploring to do.
A lot of exploring. Well, it's like Far Cry. There's a lot of similarities to Far Cry. So you've got like going into bases and liberating the bases. The bonfires are your fast travel points. You will see prisoners being escorted, or you'll see them being kind of attacked. All the like cannibals, so they're always kind of like they're pushing people around. So pretty much whatever you can sort of remember from previous Far Cry sort of carries over.
Yeah, and there's actually lots of things to find out in the world. I don't know, did you come across any of the like magic stones that have a handprint on them?
Yes, I kept finding like I didn't know what to do with them. Like
you just picked them up.
I found like a temple area that we're all praying at. I also found this kind of cave wall facing that. There was like a sort of, it looked like a cave, but there was like a flat bit blocking it off, and it had loads of symbols on it, and it clearly was important. And I think it told me to come back during the day or come back during the night. I don't think I was there at the right time, so I don't know what this was. It was clearly like a special area of some kind.
Okay, so there's lots of little things like that to go, and I think in Far Cry 3 and 4 there's loads of little caves you could go in and pick up different stuff. So there's definitely a lot of collectibles to go.
Yes, I did. Yeah, they were. I can't remember what they were now, but you were collecting little things that were just kind of you collected a thing. Yeah, and that was you didn't get anything out of it. It was just there.
So I guess we haven't really talked about the visuals as much. It looks like amazing, like this kind of stuff when you're in the jungle and all the trees are massive. Like I thought it looked really impressive.
It was. I was a little bit disappointed.
No?
It felt to me a little bit like it hadn't progressed that much from the previous game. Like there's a lot more vegetation now, and some of it is quite kind of chunky. Like the vine ladders were a bit sort of, they looked like climbing surfaces. They didn't really look like vines. So I think it's basically pretty much the same as Far Cry 4, which looked fantastic when it came out, but that was like a year and a bit ago. You can't really see. You see the plants are quite chunky. They're almost sort of cartoonish, and things like the sticks you collect are again quite chunky.
I think the thing they said with it is they had to make everything much bigger because obviously nothing's really got in the way of trees growing and things. So you do get massive trees rather than the small jungle thing. Well, the smaller jungle things you got in Far Cry 4. These are all like there's big stones everywhere. I don't know quite why they are owls so big, but he's massive as well. Like all the animals are massive.
Like prehistoric times, everything was big.
Yeah. So everything is much bigger.
Yeah.
In terms of what you actually thought of it overall, what was your initial impressions of it?
I would like to play some more of it. I don't think I had quite enough time to really sort of try out all the different systems. Like I say, I had the power cut on my little demo block, so I had a slightly less time. But I think, as you know, because there's a slightly different rhythm and sort of tactical kind of result from the different kind of weapons and having the cats and the bears, I think it could expand into something quite different to the previous games. And obviously, it's bows and arrows and that sort of thing. But I think the actual makeup of the combat will change because it will be much more about kind of traps and bees and bows and arrows and using cats. It won't just be kind of like finding your favourite gun, charging in and spraying bullets everywhere. So I think it could have a very different texture.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite fun actually. Like, obviously, we don't know how much more stuff there is to go and explore and things. We've only met 2 tribes. There could be loads more things to do. I mean, it could be in a magical dome like Leon wants it to be, but I'm not so sure it's going to be.
Go dome.
But there's lots of things to do. There's lots of animals to tame. There's lots of plants to go and get. So I think if you like the Far Cry games, there's definitely just another thing for you to go and play.
It's a Far Cry game. I mean, that sounds silly to say because it's obviously called Far Cry Primal, but it is a Far Cry game, despite the sort of the quite odd changes they've made. Everything you recognise in terms of the mechanics and the missions and the sort of the general setup is all intact, even down to the villains. You've got these 2 tribes. They have very clearly marked out leaders that are very much star villains. They're obviously not quite a Voss or a Pagan Min because of the subtitles, but they've got a lot of character in their faces. They're very sort of charismatic presences on screen. So yeah, like it looks a lot different and it does a lot of different things, but it's absolutely still a Far Cry game.
Okay, just to wrap this up then, Commander Me wants to know if you can be anything else other than an owl. You can't be like anything else. Like, you can't control it as such, but you can ride.
It just kind of skips. So I don't know how the owl's like texting you or what. I don't know how it kind of works, but yeah, you just control the owl for a little while, and I flew past myself, and you're just kind of sat there, like I don't know, like you're listening, like the owl's shouting down, like 2 over there, 1 on the left, and you're just sat on a rock listening to him.
Yeah, well, that's so far anyway, because we haven't obviously seen all of the shaman's things. So
yeah.
he could take you on another mystical.
Well, yeah, we don't. Yeah, but you don't know
animal.
quite how that spiritual stuff will unlock because, like in the previous Far Cry's, you collected things for the house, didn't you? It's, they were kind of a little side mission, but here with the whole caveman setting, it could have a far more kind of practical application.
Yeah, so there is lots of things to do. So I think that pretty much wraps up what we've got to show you today. There's lots more videos on the channel showing you a big mammoth fight and an unbroken walk across the map, so you can go from the snowy mountains back to your base. Tomorrow we'll show you just how big we think the map really is.
Big.
And show you a lot more saber-toothed tiger footage as well.
Yes.
So look forward to
Steve
that.
the Sabertooth.
Steve, that's his name, Steve
Yes.
the Sabertooth. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out the site at www.gamesradar.com. And we will see you all very soon. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for
thank
all
you
your
very
questions. If you like this, press the like button, and we will do this more in the future for other games coming out and try and answer your questions about them. So until then, we will see you again.
Yep. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.